Hey, hey, hey. This is Kate Weatherwise, your favorite weather girl, coming to you on Sunday, November 16th. It's about 2 p.m. and we are going to talk about the weather today for the rest of today, which when I go over to the radar in just a minute, we're going to see that we have some light rain on our doorstep that's going to last through a good part of the evening. But this week, to give a synopsis, this week, except for tomorrow, is going to be relatively dry, but it's going to be cooler. And we're also going to talk about the month of November and why has it been so warm? It's been warmer than normal. I've said to a few people that it's been kind of balmy out there for our neck of the woods, which we're not really typically used to seeing. I am still forecasting a cold and snowy winter, and technically it's not winter yet, and meteorological winter doesn't start until December 1st. But normally we have some cooler weather, some cold weather that comes in November. We even see snow in November. There's been many seasons, many years where we've seen snow in October. I've never been here for snow in September, but I've seen snow in October, and I've definitely seen snow in November, especially by Thanksgiving and sometimes at the beginning of November. So we're sort of in a little warm pattern, but that is going to change. And so I'm going to flip over to the radar right now, and then we'll get into all the other stuff. So here we go. Here we go. Now, this is the current radar. This is Spokane in the middle. You see all of this precip. This is light that's coming towards us that is really on our doorstep. And some of this lighter stuff is going to be hit or miss for a bit. And then as we get closer to the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock hour, that's when this heavier precipitation is going to enter the picture from the south and southwest and traversing to the north. And the temperature right now is in the mid 50s. So there's not going to be any chance for snow or even snow mixed with rain or rain mixed with snow. There's none of that for this whole area. This whole area is not going to see a bit of snow. The snow level is up around 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet. So if you're up here, around, North Idaho and the ski resorts up here or anywhere like that, Lookout Pass, Schweitzer Mountain, those areas, you will see some snow near the top, but it's going to be rain at the surface. So that's what we're looking at currently. And this rain is going to last us through middle of the night, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then we're going to get a break tomorrow. And it's just going to be light. I'm not expecting more than 1 to 2/10 of an inch overnight tonight into Monday. And then we'll get a break tomorrow. It's going to stay pretty cloudy. There may be a break in the clouds, but it won't last for long. And we'll see a break in the weather for most of the day tomorrow. And then around dark time tomorrow, we'll see a rain shower or two. And then we'll have some more steadier rain that moves in to Monday night into Tuesday. Until I'm thinking it's going to be the overnight hours, not typically. It's going to be the overnight hours, Monday night into Tuesday. And then once that clears out, we'll see some sun on Tuesday afternoon, which is nice. And then the rest of the week is looking pretty dry. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to see some sun, but it's going to be colder. We've been seeing temperatures in the 50s for highs over the past week to 2 weeks. Some 40s if it's rainy and yucky all day. But if the sun comes out and dries out a little bit, we've been going up into the 50s. Like I said, it's in the mid 50s right now around the area. I wish I could change over to these numbers right here are wind gusts that are being picked up. It doesn't have temperatures. But if you go outside, you're going to see that the temperatures are warmer. I can go outside without a jacket on. Like I could go outside with just this on right now and I would be chilly, but I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, it's so cold. So let's go over to the rapid refresh, and it shows it again. The rapid refresh again, as I've said several times now, this is my favorite model that shows a very short time frame of what is being forecasted as far as weather is concerned, that I like to use as a tool. And it shows that rain coming in from the south and southwest, and then it's going to be warm. That's what the red dotted line is about. And then it's going to be with us, and then it's going to dry out a little bit. Now this model is not done updating, so it only goes out 18 hours. Normally it goes out about 48 hours, but it's set, like I just said, it's still updating. But just trust me, we're going to have a break in the precip tomorrow morning into the afternoon, and then we'll see some more rain tomorrow evening, and then again overnight, and then it's going to dry out for a few days. So that'll be nice. That'll be a nice change to have some dry. But the temperatures are going to be in the low to mid to maybe upper 40s instead of in the 50s for highs. And the temperature at night is going to be in the 30s for lows all of those days. And I'm not expecting any wind to pick up either. It's always going to be windy out on the coast here, as you can see depicted by these red and pinks and blues, especially this red color. This is the center of the low that's coming in, and it's going into Canada up here. It's going to slam into Victoria Island, but then it just sort of dies out as it comes in. And this whole week, it's going to be pretty benign for winds. And we may get 5 or 10 mile per hour winds towards the end of the week, but I'm really thinking it's going to be pretty light as far as winds are concerned this week, which is good. Because if you're outside up on a roof putting up your Christmas lights or anything like that, you can do that, and it's not going to be windy. It's not going to be rainy. I have some projects outside going on right now, referring to my chickens, and it would not be good if there was wind. So that's good that this week is not going to be a windy week. But as you can see, system after system after system comes in off the coast, but it doesn't really give us much in the way of wind. I mean, you'd think that, oh my gosh, there's a big windstorm coming, looking at these different colors, but we get a lot of protection from the Cascade Mountains here in Eastern Washington. Western Washington, if you've ever been over there, ever lived over there, I used to live over there, they get battered with wind from the ocean all season long, all winter, all late fall, all winter long. Especially late fall, October, November, December time frame. They get a lot of wind, and they have somewhat of protection from the Olympic Mountains, but the wind just kind of whips around from the Strait of Juan de Fuca or from the south, and it can really batter them. But we are really, really protected from the Cascade Mountains. So we don't see, unless the system kind of drops in from this way or really comes in from the south or the southwest, then we'll get it that way. But we've had our fair share of windstorms. I think we just had an anniversary on the 14th of a pretty good windstorm that occurred about 11 years ago. And there's been many other windstorms. So they have to come in from a certain angle. So as we keep moving forward in time, we've got some more wind. A little bit of wind pops up. This is for Friday during the day, which what I was talking about, perhaps a 5 to 10 mile per hour wind day on Friday. And the bulk of it stays to our south, or so this is depicting. And then that's it. So now this is moving into Friday night, which again, like I've said a million times, and I will keep saying, I don't like to forecast out more than 5 days. So I'm just doing Monday through Friday this week. So for winds, that's what it's looking like. Light winds this week, except for maybe Friday, where we'll kick it up 5 to 10 miles per hour, which is really nothing in the grand scheme of things. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook that's valid from November 22nd through the 26th. Right now, we're in a little bit of a warmer period. As I mentioned before, we're going to cool off this week. And then from the 22nd to the 26th, it's saying for us, Western Washington's going to be a little bit in the cooler, on the cooler side. They're predicting this. This is predicting, but we're going to be pretty normal, which is cold, cool, cold temperatures for us, which is normal. And then the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook is higher than average, so above normal. So that means the cooler, colder temperatures with a bump up in precipitation chances, which means we could start seeing some snow enter in the picture between the 22nd and the 26th, just before Thanksgiving. That's next weekend into the following week, Thanksgiving week. So we'll see how that goes. The 8 to 14 day temperature puts us in a higher probability of below normal temperatures and above normal or near normal precipitation may fall. So again, we have a greater chance of some snow to fall. Now, I also wanted to talk about why has November been so warm? Why has it been above normal? Why has it been just like rain and yuck? And so if you don't mind it, that's fine. But if it's November, I want to see some snow. I want to, especially as you get into November. And I know we are going to be dealing with potential for cold and snow and yuck for the rest of the winter into, let's say, April. But this is why. As you can see from this map, this is kind of a really busy map. But this gives you a good indication. These red lines are warm. These blue lines are cold. This is how it's been for most of November so far. We're only to pretty much mid-month, a little bit past mid-month, but you can see all the cold air has been trapped up into Canada, far up into Canada, and we've had some little squirts that have come down east of the Appalachian Mountains into the East Coast. We had a shot of that cold air that came in and some snow all the way down into Georgia and Tennessee and North Carolina, especially in the mountains and in the higher elevations of these states. But, that's not normal. With the temperatures in the 20s, that is not normal. But we've just had an amplified high over us for most of November. And so that is also dragging in the warmer air off of the Pacific up into this area. And there's been some cold and some snow in Montana, but especially for the state of Washington, the state of Oregon, there really hasn't been too much now in the way of cold, especially for the eastern parts of these states and into Idaho as well. But that is going to change. So I'm going to advance this forward a little bit so you can see it. But this is pretty much, I know this is busy, but this is how it's been. The blue lines indicate cold. So that's been trapped up into Canada. The red is pretty much all of the United States has been warmer. So I'm going to advance forward. This goes out quite a bit, and you can see things starting to change as I advance forward. There's some colder air coming in. Like I said, these areas up here in, the Midwest, the northern Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, the UP of Michigan, up into the Northeast, they always get cold. I used to live right here in Traverse City, Michigan, right there. And so I have dealt with lake effect snow. They had a good dose of lake effect snow last week with that system that also dropped snow down into the east of the Appalachians. So they have had their fair share of snow already, but we have not because of that blocking high that's been trapped up in Canada. So you see, as we move forward, there's still the jet stream is still taking that cold air down here and leaving us in the warm. This is through the 17th, which is tomorrow. And then we'll start to see a change as I advance forward. Look at this up here. This this thing right here that looks serious, right? Let's keep going forward. Ooh, up, up, up. The purple, and then blue. Okay, here we go. I swear it's coming. It's coming. Okay, so this is on or about the 23rd of November. You can start to see a little bit of colder air coming down from Canada into eastern Washington, into Idaho, and into Montana. And then it's sagging south. It's starting to sag south. This is when our weather is expected to change and actually become wintry. So then it starts to get busy. Look at this whole area right here with the blues and the purples dragging all of this cold air down. This is what we typically see. Now, this is going to make the ski resorts of Colorado and New Mexico, or Colorado and Utah, Wyoming, those areas, Montana, this is going to make them really happy because it's going to kind of switch where we have a dig in the jet stream. It creates like a trough situation, and then it kind of comes back up. And so it's going to get warmer on the East Coast and colder from the central U.S. west. So that's where we're going. This turns into a pretty potent low. These really, really tight isobars equal a pretty good snow dose in the Dakotas, into Minnesota, and into Wisconsin, especially on the backside. The front end, now I'm talking, this is U.S. weather now, but I'm talking, look at this line right here. If you're traveling or if you're going to this part of the country, this could be potentially some severe weather popping out. This is Thanksgiving Day, actually. This is Thanksgiving Day. But for us out here, I'm going to get into all that about the rest of the country in a video next. But for us right here, you can still see the cold weather is still banking in. And then it stays with us through the period. So on or about the 23rd of November is when things look like they're going to change. I said about mid-month, so maybe about 5 days to 7 days later, but that's what we're looking at. And you can kind of see that too. This is a temperature guide through Christmas Day. We're warm, and then we get cold. It starts to show the blues and the greens. The greens are really cold. The blues are a little bit cold, and then it stays warmer on the East Coast from the central to the eastern part of the country. And then it retreats a little bit, but then we start to get a little bit blue again, but it's going to stay cold. So I think through Christmas, I think we're going to be starting around the 23rd, 20th to the 25th of November onward. I think that's when the cold air that we're typically used to seeing is going to start invading our area and sticking around, and none of these 50s anymore. It's going to be in the 40s and then the 30s, and it's what we're used to. So I think all of us, maybe not all of us, but I know I'm looking forward to seeing some snowfall and having, because I want to put up my Christmas tree. I know it's not Thanksgiving yet, but I always put up my Christmas tree before Thanksgiving. Sorry to those of you who don't do that, but some of you do, I'm sure. And then, I want it to be cold outside. I want it to be cozy when I do that. So anyway, that is what we're looking at. So for right now, I'm going to go back to the radar. This is the current look. As I mentioned before, I'm actually going to, this is currently what it's looking like. So there's a little bit of rain coming in, and then the bulk of it is going to be later, 5 o'clock or so, and then rain through tomorrow morning, and then we'll have a break on Monday, and then a little bit of rain overnight, Monday night into Tuesday, and then it's going to dry out. So that's it. This is a long one. This is almost 20 minutes, but I wanted to explain about about the month of November and why it's been warmer and what we're looking at for the rest of the month and into December. So that's it. That's your forecast. That's your outlook, your weather outlook for 9 Mile, North Idaho, Western Montana, the rest of Eastern Washington. And I will be back with more this week. If you are not in my 9 Mile Weather Outlook Facebook group, you can come in there, and I do a lot of extra stuff in that group. Forecasting comes from YouTube, and then I also kind of do observational things and things like that in the group too. So if you want to become part of that group, just hop on over to Facebook and look for 9 Mile Weather Outlook, and then you can get hooked up with that. And I'll just keep moving forward with the forecasting, and we'll just take it as it comes. All right. Have a good evening for your Sunday, and have a good start to your week. And I will be back soon, very soon. This is Kate Weatherwise saying bye for now.